Hi, hello, good morning. I'm Luis Martí Bonmati, and I'm quite proud to share with you our developments regarding the UCAIM infrastructure related to cancer research and medical imaging. I'm the scientific director of this project and infrastructure, but also the director of the Biomedical Imaging Research Group at La Fe Health Research Institute here in Valencia, Spain, and the director of the medical imaging department, including radiology, nuclear medicine, and medical physics. I have no financial disclosures, but I was founder of a spin-off company that now is a SME related to AI and medical imaging with no shareholders. And as I told you before, quite proud, the scientific director of UCAIM. So what's UCAIM? UCAIM is a research infrastructure which is centralized to medical imaging, but not only images, it's also we are allocating and we are computing on related associated data, whatever it is, genetic, transcriptomics, molecular, or clinical treatment options. The infrastructure provides a work plan trying to drive the future of cancer imaging and AI, and it's a flagship of the European Beating Cancer Plan, and so extremely relevant to the research on healthcare today in oncology, but in the future we will be open to any other inflammatory degenerative conditions. So we will provide an overview of the mission and vision, how to engage hospital researchers and innovators, some words on AI and how it is helping the development of precision medicine, and the relevance of high quality, diverse data and secure patient environment and patient and processing environment, privacy and security. So UCAIM is a structured research and data environment. And we have to understand that to do research is extremely relevant to have the right question and team to obtain the minimal relevant variables, but those that might influence the outcomes. Work and discuss on bias corrections with data curations, go through image harmonization, and these are the most sensitive decisions in research. And also at the end, you have to check for counterfactual conditions. And we are quite used to work through the PICO pipeline with the population, patients or problems, the disease or conditions, demographics and settings, the intervention or exposure, the comparator or alternative or control, which are mainly standards of care, another exposure or risk factor, and working also on outcomes. But to do that properly, when we do research on data, we have to discuss, what's data and the relevance of data quality. Well, here at the hospitals on the healthcare pathway, we are using mainly data as the primary use, meaning that they are obtained to deliver the best healthcare experience, ensuring that patients right to access their health data, where they move, and so on. But we want to use also data for secondary use, for a different purpose, which is mainly related to management, but also research, innovation, policy making, and so on. And to do that properly, we need that both primary and secondary use are obtained, allocated, stored, structured, organized the right way, and following, let's say, standards and common data models. And that means that our electronic health records should be mature enough to allow both the primary use and the secondary use to be done properly, at least within the European level. And if we are able to do that, and that's also part of the mission of EUCAIN, we might be able to unlock the power of imaging biomarkers for precision medicine. Well, medical imaging data is not just alone the only explanation for a phenotype or a stage or grading or prognosis, but it must be integrated with other relevant channels of information like clinical and molecular or genetic data obtained both prospective or retrospectively to enhance our understanding of the disease, the precise diagnosis and phenotyping, prognosis, therapy planning, health monitoring, and also adhering to scientific, ethical, and regulatory standards. And that's why we understand that data quality, data structure, data annotations being done properly while we conduct healthcare actions on the primary use, but also having a extremely well-defined pathway on how data is treated, curated, and integrated is mandatory. Our vision in UCAIM is that we do foresee that to do all these things properly, we also need to expose our systems to a huge amount of data, and most of these data sets at the hospital and research institutes keep fragmented over time and disappear after the research projects finalize. And we wanted to bring together medical images that are currently stored in so many different places so that the information can be reused for research. We are willing to connect radiology and nuclear medicine image repositories, providing millions of anonymized series to better evaluate cancer and develop AI tools for diagnosis and prognosis. And we really want to make all these issues accessible to doctors, researchers, and innovations. So at the end, we are willing to enhance how diagnosis and treatment is defined today by using imaging biomarkers and AI tools. We want to move into the field of the development and benchmarking of AI tools and models, looking for this precision medicine. And also we want to create a federated, secure processing environment that will allow researchers to work in a distributed and federated way all over the so many different countries and institutions that we do have in Europe. This is a background of the infrastructure. We today have more than 95 partners. They include major European research infrastructures like Eurobioimaging, BBMRI, IATRIS, Elixir, but also large hospitals, universities, private companies in the medtech industry. And this is just a snap of where we do have all these partners, plus all the stakeholders today, close to 200, that are also within the infrastructure willing to collaborate and communicate and participate in our developments. So EUCAIM on the data provision models is organized on a federated way with a central hub. At the central hub, we engage existing repositories through either sharing on a federated way or transferring on a data transfer approach philosophy. But we also want to engage new projects, those new projects through collaboration agreement that are being constructed can also either share or transfer data to the central repository. And so researchers are able to work on request on demands for all this type of data. And the data is extremely important, and we will go through that. It's a fair data. Data has to be findable, accessible, interoperable, understandable, and reusable. And this is our federated approach. We are really flexible infrastructure. We want to allow researchers to either transfer or share. We do have the central repository, the Atlas of Cancer Images, where specific data sets by project demands, data that is already finalized that have been transferred, or active projects that are shared, and they do have their research community are engaged, where hospitals and institutions can opt to transfer or sharing approaches, and where federated nodes are extremely welcome. And within the infrastructure, we really want to harness the power of data. So there is a must to work on the data, but also on the tools. We don't want researchers to reinvent the wheel, and we are providing a huge amount of already existing tools and tools for research and piloting and validation. But we are also engaging research communities for those that are willing to work on brain, breast, lung, prostate, liver, or whatever. They are researchers, physicians, radiologists, computational scientists. They are already working on groups, and we want to keep these communities aligned with the infrastructure to develop actionable biomarkers and AI models to finally improve the outcomes for cancer patients. So all the infrastructure is constructing on design through a privacy and security pathway where we really take care deeply on the identification, the anonymization of data, and also on the control access to the data, both at the hospital, single centers, multi-centers studies, and multi-country engagement. And we are doing that to provide this high-quality data demands exploration on large data sets and careful assurance of representativeness to guarantee scientific reproducibility. This is the map at the single center. This is an example of our hospital where we do have the primary use layer here, but also we have a copy on the secondary use part of the hospital and research institute, the data mars, where we have a second copy, the pseudo data mars, and where we can, through common data models, ETL processes, construct our data sets for research, expose them as a federated node, and being able to work on a federated approach with other institutions. Data and documents in Europe is not an easy pathway, and we are facilitating researchers all the templates and documents that might help to properly develop their research projects. For projects, of course, we have information on grants, funds, how to provide ethics committees with the right documentation, aspects on data minimization and benefit of patients. For patients, we have aspects on how to recruit data on prospective or retrospective ways, informed consent, how to ask for a waive for that on retrospective series, aspects on equity and process transparency. For data, on the data management plan, ETL, data access through the data warehouse, anonymization, harmonization, terms and conditions for transfer, sharing, impact assessments, and data use agreements. On the secure processes or trusted research environments, we are also helping on how to define the safety and security framework, the AAA, authentication, authorization, and accountability aspects, also on the computational issues and cybersecurity, and also helping SMEs on the process of medical device regulatory issues with long-term preservation of data sets that have been used or will be used for the validation and also on the licensing and recognition. So the data fair requirements are strict. We go through standards of medical images, mainly DICOM, but we also allow NIFTY metadata through the catalog, the one at the European level, DCAT-AP, clinical data with a common data model, M-code that is understandable for the most standard OMOP and fair issues. And of course, we are working on hyperontology on the so many different cancer scenarios with a unified framework, everything under a secure processing environment. We are exposing our software as a marketplace through a catalog where we do have so many pre-processing and post-processing applications, post-processing going to federated learning, platforms, infrastructure, machine learning, and analysis software. And on the pre-processing, these are the most important tools on the identification, following the national and international legislation on GDPR. Also, harmonization tools, extremely important to transform medical images to a working framework where images will be comparable among different providers, scanners, and acquisition protocols. Also, annotation tools for segmentation and labeling. We do have a fairness tool, which is an evaluator and validator and advisor on the fairness of the data, and tools on data quality and curation. The researcher, the user, secure journey through our platform is through the discovery of data, the catalog and explorer. Once data is located on the centralized and distributed nodes, then you have to allow to ask for a negotiator to ask for the data. We do have an UKM access committee that after approval, data will be prepared and then provide to the researchers to be used within the SPs or federated processing to finally generate outputs on research. This is how we are using AI on these pathways. Of course, we are using AI for image harmonization, providing this vendor protocol neutral framework to perform organ and tumor extraction and labeling, and also to extract properties, whatever radiomics parameters or deep features, to estimate endpoints, phenotypes, molecular, genetic prints, but also estimations on prognosis and best treatments in every single patient. This is an example through these research projects where children with neuroblastoma are automatically detected, segmented, extracted, and radiomic features calculated. On the development of the AI models, we are also deploying as new and advanced features as possible. We do have an automated image interpretation, multimodal learning, synthetic data generation to help researchers to curate and complete their data, and also a workflow optimization. And this is an example of the final product we want to deploy into the market to transfer into the clinical settings. And this is how we finalized this project pretty much, where we did integrate clinical data with medical imaging biomarkers and radiomic features to provide a better stratification, classification of these children with neuroblastomas, modifying and improving the pathway we were using before the project. Within Primas, we are also providing clinical validation tools. So for those software, this is an example obtained with the collaboration within the Chameleon project. Users can use the platform to validate softwares in a setting as close as real settings. So this is a user-friendly platform development to improve that user experience during clinical validation, annotation, editing, and checking the quality of the software. We are also extremely proud that we are helping SMEs on their regulatory pathway from discovery to use. And that means we are trying to accelerate innovations to be used in clinical practice related to cancer diagnosis and treatment today, from the first product ideation to data gathering, data curation, manufacturing, regulatory submissions and clearance, at least in the best scenario, 30 months are expected. But we made some pilots, and within our infrastructure, we are able to shorten some of these steps, and we are able to provide a pathway for SMEs and companies to clear their software from first product ideation in as short as 20 months. So that's an extremely important aspect for companies. UKIM is willing to keep as a legal entity. The pathway for that is a European Digital Innovation Consortium that will be able to provide data on demand for research and regulations at the European health data space, be acting as an authorized participant. By doing that, we are able to provide a catalog of data to go through the data access application on a secure processing environment, being linked to the central and national platforms for data. The benefits of this infrastructure for the society is mainly to researchers. The infrastructure provides opportunities to access, share, and process pan-European cancer imaging and associated or related data. Also for innovators, those willing to develop products to the market, because the infrastructure provides a reference framework with data which is high quality, standardized catalog, facilitating the certification process. Also to physicians, because new diagnosis, prognosis, and treatment information will be evaluated and validated, and at the end for citizens, because improved quality of life, early personalized diagnosis, treatment, and prognosis is expected through all the developments we, the research community, plus the innovators, developers, are willing to work with. We are welcoming stakeholders, just thinking that most of you might be outside the European landscape, but you can become a stakeholder of the platform. Stakeholders are closely linked to the infrastructure. We really want to keep relationships on how are we doing, documents, templates, processes, software, catalogs, hyperontology, interoperability, keeping close relationships, and also defining joint research projects through this community of hospitals, institutions, research centers, academia, and companies willing really to collaborate on understanding, sharing, and allowing the development of precision medicine. And these are the main types of stakeholders: data holders, software providers, data users in common joint research projects, and management. For data holders, we really want to provide a secure and federated scenario to share data. For software providers, we are also willing to define the catalog, benchmarking, and common solutions, services, and applications through a marketplace. For data users, we really want to allow access to data for research in multi-country or multi-continental projects, and of course on those related to management, legal, ethical, and policy makers and dissemination processes. We are also want to link this infrastructure. For the engagement and requirements analysis on the UKIM platform, there is a questionnaire, so please go through the web page where you will find all the information related to the technical characteristics, data analytics and storage, standards, common data models, vocabularies, data accessibility, hardware requirements, IT policies, privacy, security, and legal requirements. And with all the documents and templates, we are facilitating to those institutions willing to be part of the UKIM infrastructure. So this was my presentation on this infrastructure, willing really to have you on board. Please take a look to that. If you are able to, try to be a stakeholder. If you are willing to, try to define joint research projects, and please also keep an eye, provide your comments and thoughts on what we are doing. Thanks a lot, and happy to have feedbacks mainly through email. That's my main email, and so happy to have been able to share our experiences. Thank you very much.